I'd like to call this meeting to order. Ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for Pastor Diana Rain to lead us in prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed on our local community here in 2022. We pray for those who are in the offices that govern this village and the county, that they make wise and godly decisions, which are always in the best interest of our community. We're glad we have the freedom to speak up and vote for those who oppose our sets of values and listen to us. Even if we differ from these leaders, we pray for them to be blessed by you, God, and also those who are in law enforcement. Please protect them in their line of duty today, so that we might protect those of us who have placed our trust in them. Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless these men and women in our village government. We ask that you bless Denise in her office and her council and all elected officials, and certainly those who put themselves in harm's way, like our law enforcement officers, our firemen, and our EMTs. We also thank you, oh Lord, for bringing our community together for the Yuletide Festival, and thank all those who volunteered, especially Lori Nichols, Denise Rose, and the DDA and the council. With the guidance, it was a huge success. At this time, Lord, we just thank you for bringing all of us here today. So thankful that we have all of these, and in Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Gritzmaker, if you'd like to remain standing and take the oath of office.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties in my office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
in and for the village of Blissfield,
in and for the village of Blissfield,
county of Lenawee,
county of Lenawee,
and state of Michigan,
state of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
For me.
Again, thanks a lot, Bill, for taking on the responsibility of representing the constituents of Blissfield.
I like to sit down, just lay down, so something.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
I got him about.
Lisa, whenever you're ready. Roll call.
James Dyson,
Present.
Mike Gunner,
Present.
Gwen Dusa. Here. Bill Gritzmaker.
Here.
Jerry Hayes.
Here.
Eric Rogers. Timothy Waters.
Present. Moving on to approving the minutes of December 12th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 12th, 2022 as presented.
Support. Moved and supported. Lisa.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
James,
Yes. That passes. Presentations and communications. Moving on to the agenda tonight. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented unless there's any amendments?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda for the Monday, January 9th, 2023 meeting.
Support. Got a motion and a second, Lisa?
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
If I may ask a question regarding this information, was this considered a presentation or anything of that nature?
I'm not sure, Danielle?
what information?
The information regarding the grandstand at Ellis Park.
No, that's on your agenda, further down. So that is just the results from the survey that I had printed, just for your reference, when we get to that agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll open the floor for public comments for items on the agenda. Nothing tonight, Mr. Weaver? All right, moving on to unfinished business. Council, is there any unfinished business?
It could be unfinished business. Danielle, not sure, regarding the ARPA funds. And I know that, we've talked about, putting that on the back burner. I didn't know if perhaps as we're looking ahead at our committee of the whole meetings, if we wanted to go ahead and schedule a time, down the road, council, like April, Mayish, to kind of see what our thoughts are. Or is that something that we want to, delay for a little longer?
No, I think I am ready for you guys. The next available committee of the whole meeting would be May.
Okay,
So I can get it on that schedule or on that meeting if you're good with that.
wonderful, thank you. And then this might also be, past business as well. At one point, we were receiving the zoning reports. I know for a while then we were not. I was curious when we might start to receive those again, Danielle.
I will actually be working with Stacy. I just took that off my, it was included in mine. The one on this meeting does not have that. I need to teach Stacy how to pull those though, so that she can provide that information to you guys.
That's
So we'll be working on that. Refresh my memory. That was coming on the second meeting, correct? Before? Yeah, so that's what I was gonna keep it the same
okay,
meeting that it was
Same
before, and I
rotation.
thought it was the second.
okay, all right. Just wanted to check on that as well. Thank you.
Anything else, Glenn?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Anybody else in unfinished business? Okay, hearing no other unfinished business, thank you for those updates, Danielle. New business, payroll. Can I get a motion to approve payroll?
Make a motion to approve the payroll register for December 2022 in the amount of $140,574.35. Second.
Moved and seconded. Lisa?
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
James,
Yes, motion passes. Moving on to accounts payable. Looking for a motion to approve AP for December 14th.
Make a motion to approve accounts payable for the period December 14, 2022 to January 10, 2023 in the amount of $596,169. 59 cents.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Lisa, if you will.
Mike,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
James,
Yes. The motion passes. All right. Item number 3, Alice Park Grandstand plans.
Yes. So just to summarize, I guess, how we got here really quickly, during the budget process for this current fiscal year, we had talked about the grandstands and the condition that they're in. And it was budgeted at that time to demo fully the grandstands at Ellis Park. And then the plan was to put like a grassy area there. There is an electrical panel there that would have just a little roof over it to protect it from the weather. And then we talked about some kind of barrier, like a fence or something. And that we just created as a space that people could bring blankets or chairs to come down and watch the games, and the 2 side bleachers would remain. During that discussion, it was identified that or requested that staff look to see if there was any other affordable options. I think that Mike met with Brent down there. Brent looked at it. He did prepare another option. So the west side of the bleachers are unsavable. They're beyond repair. But he did say that they would be able to remove those and then keep the press box and the east side of the bleachers. So if you're facing, it's like standing by the ball field facing them, it would be keeping the right side in the press box. The proposal or estimated cost for that would be about $1,900 in 2 weeks worth of DPW wages. That is a little bit over what we budgeted for the demo, which we had estimated at 1 week of DPW wages and $1,500. So I am bringing this before you just to have a decision. I did put out a survey to our residents, which I provided copies of those results to you with the 2 options, and then I think there was 8 other responses there for you to read. I would kind of side note, and maybe we talk about this later, but like some feedback from you guys if you found the survey helpful, if that's something you want to consider in the future as well. But if you have questions about the grandstands themselves, let me know and I will try to answer them.
So if we did demo the west side of that, what would we do to repair and update the rest of the structure?
So we would do some concrete work on the other side where the bleachers are and some of that concrete is cracking. It would get new siding. So currently that wood is rotten, it looks terrible. It would be repainted. There is some metal work and fasteners that would need to be fixed. And I think that's everything.
Do we have an estimate on about what that might be?
Yeah, that would be the
That's the
$1,900 for the materials and the 2 weeks worth of DPW wages. So if we go that route, we will be looking at a budget amendment. I don't have the budget amendment included in this because I would put it in our mid-year, year-end budget amendment, but it would be go over what we had budgeted, just slightly, because we had budgeted 1 week and the $1,500.
What are we storing in the press box area now?
We currently store the bases and the chalk, and that, if it were to come down fully, would be for now moved to the old pool site until we figure out what we're gonna do there, and then would have to come up with a long-term storage solution.
Is that down below, like underneath the seats?
Yes,
So nothing's being used up in the press box right now?
no.
Did you feel going to the survey, Danielle? I know when you and I spoke last week, this was kind of something that we had discussed as well. And personally, I know this isn't necessarily the perfect time for it. I personally like the survey because this is something that I know how I feel about it, but I'd like to hear obviously from the residents. Do you feel that that was enough time in order? I mean, I think you got out last Wednesday-ish?
Yeah, I had 134 responses.
Okay, is that how many, that's our total then, okay. So the, with that, and what I'm understanding from the data is that from those particular residents, okay, we've got 54% saying the partial demolition repairs versus the full demolition ground. Got it, okay. And this is something, as you've got stated here, this is council's pleasure. You don't have a recommendation one way or another.
My recommendation at the time of budget was to do a full demolition. And simply because my concern is the safety of the structure as it is. I think the partial demolition would be sufficient. I think what we will run into with the partial demolition is at some point, again, and it'll be similar to where we're at now.
It'd be another revisit.
Yes, we'll either need to at that time fully demo and replace or whatever we choose to do, but it won't be another repair. But this would it would allow us to use it for some more time.
But use it for what is the question? Yeah, kind of.
And the reason I recommended at budget time the full demolition is because we've been, I feel, hyper focused on maintenance and maintaining the things that we have. And this, I mean, I understand it's been there for a long time and I get that, but putting grass there and mowing it's a lot easier to maintain than the structure itself. It doesn't get a lot of use. In fact, I don't think anybody sits on it, and probably because of, I'm going to say largely because of the condition of it. so that was really, I know my niece and nephew play softball and baseball, and everywhere field we go to, people, they'll be bleachers and you'll still see them in their chairs off to the side rather than sitting in the bleachers, and it's pretty common. So that it kind of would match that idea, so that's why I made that recommendation, but again, like I said, it is up to council and the community what you guys want to see.
So if we do reside this, how long, I mean, it won't be too much of a length of time, given that that's in a floodplain, that the wood will start rotting again.
Yeah, and my greater concern than the wood rotting would be the concrete along the bleachers and that becoming unsafe. Because again, we would be making repairs to that and filling and where we can, and I don't, it's hard to say, and Brent and I talked about this a little bit, like how much longer, because a lot of it's gonna be dependent on flooding and weather and use.
Is it kind of like the facilities at the dugouts at the ball field, at the league field?
Yes.
We need Eric here for this. He has his finger on his pulse. I'm pro tearing it down. We're just passing the buck along if we don't deal with it now. We don't have enough money in our budget to maintain what we have. And unfortunately, I think you are correct. The majority of people sit in chairs nowadays, not bleachers. So I hate to see it go, but I can't justify the alternative.
I kind of printed those out, and a lot of it boils down to the nostalgia, to people's minds, and that's where I found that old press box there and the old lettering and whatnot. So again, it's always about money, and we know that. I did go down there and take a look at it with Brett. The upstairs is truly disgusting inside it. There's nothing in it. The door's rotten and it barely shuts. There's no electric needs in there because the scoreboard was removed and whatnot. I was hoping maybe we could salvage the west side and just take down the first row of bleachers, but it sounds like that's beyond repair as well. So again, for symmetry, that just kind of looks odd. My recommendation would be is what I drawn in the last there would be that, we keep the poles that hold up the back wall, and then we just do some fencing there, and we can kind of replicate the idea of what it used to look like with the Ellis playground painted on the wood fence, and it also gives a barrier for the parking.
Oh, that's where you're going with that, huh, Mike?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
it leaves the
No, I understand
electric.
now. Okay, gotcha.
It leaves the electric panel, and then it kind of replicates what's there, and it provides a little safety barrier and at a minimal cost. So again, I think, would I like to see bleachers there? Absolutely. Again, it's not used that much, maybe down the line, if it is, we could pour pad and get 2 more sets of bleachers to utilize it if it's gonna be, but unfortunately not having the electric there, not having an actual scoreboard with there, and being it floods every spring, it's hard for us to store stuff under there anyway. So as much as I hate to see it go, it's probably more cost effective to just remove it.
Yeah, I think it's better if we save the money now, put towards looking at bleachers in the future. Well, if there's not any more discussion, anybody have a motion?
Well, if we consider this plan, do we need to work that into a motion?
So what I was actually, if with the paint and everything like Mike did,
Yes.
we have the demo budgeted, and then I would put in next year's budget, the paint and to do the Ellis part right, and to kind of make it look like Mike had proposed. Unless you want to do a budget amendment this year for that. Because when we had budgeted, we didn't budget that portion,
We're only a couple of months away from talking next year's budget anyway, so
yeah.
we can talk about it.
Well, do we want to wait and then come up with a greater scheme then? Have a couple more presentations?
That's up to you, it's whatever you want me to
I
do.
mean, we don't have to make a decision, we can carry this forward. My first exposure to it, so yeah, I like that. I just,
Did you hear that? Jason?
I did.
you-
Now is the best time to do demo though, because spring, obviously, things start to pick up at DPW, but we do have a few months that we could chew on it, I guess.
you
Do you
said
have a
those
cost
were-
estimate on that fencing?
No, I cannot.
Mike, do you have any idea?
Again, the posts are already in the ground, so it would just be, whatever, I just feel we
Six
should
or
use
eight
treated,
panels?
yeah, it should be used treated or whatever, just to kind of piece it back together.
Yeah, I mean, the paint's probably like $100. Honestly, we could probably just absorb it within our regular operating budget and not even impact it. Which is, I mean, I'd look at that, because if it's something more than that, we'd have to budget. If it could be absorbed, we could just do that.
We're back in 2 weeks, January 23rd. Should we push it out till then? Come back with a few numbers?
Yeah. That sounds
Okay,
good.
let's do that. Can we put that back on the agenda in 2 weeks for us, Danielle? All right, moving on, number 4, board appointments, planning commission. Jerry, you want to lead us here?
Yeah, so at our planning commission last Monday or last Tuesday, actually it was, we had several applicants for 2 open positions on the planning commission. And much like we did here on the council, the planning commission did a numbered vote. Who they wanted to see or have on the board with us, and our applicants were Chris Cunningham, Jennifer Lamley, and Sherry Lewis. And the planning commission recommended to appoint Sherry Lewis and Jennifer Lamley to the planning commission for terms ending 10/31/2026. So those 2 ladies are here tonight.
All right, anybody have any questions for Jerry or the 2 nominees? And if not, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to reappoint Diane Burgermeister and Jerry Hayes, and appoint Jennifer Lamley and Sherry Lewis to the Blissfield Planning Commission, all in terms ending 10/31/2026.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. Lisa, whenever you're ready.
Mike,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jane.
Yes. The motion passes. Thank you and congratulations.
Another thing, our planning commission is completely full now too, so.
Excellent.
Trying to bring it up, are you there, Jay?
Huh?
Bringing that up, are you? I would.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been open
We
seats for a
work
while.
hard.
That's nice, that's good. Congratulations.
So I'm glad that these, have Sherry and Jennifer on the board, so.
All right, agenda item number 5, approve wastewater treatment exterior doors. Pretty straightforward. I think we've talked about these doors before. So
Yes.
unless there's any questions, I'm just looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase and installation of the doors and windows by Maple City Glass for the price of $30,880.
I do want to, if you don't mind, just to remind you guys, and I guess let the public know. Normally, we bid this out. And I think it was August of last year, we had bid, because of the amount, we had bid this out and then we got one quote or one bid that came in at $68,000. So we've had a hard time with these doors getting people that are willing to provide the doors and install them. So this time we did not follow our normal bid process and we got the 2 quotes. And I guess wanted to notate and make sure you guys understood that normally that's not, we had to kind of tweak it a little bit to try to work within our budget. And in this budget year, we had actually substantially increased because that bid came in so high. Last year, we had budgeted 18,000. It came in to 68, so then we increased it another 60,000. So we're coming well under budget, but again, I just wanted to be very upfront about that.
Thank you. So I've got a motion. For a second.
I'll support.
Thank you, Bill. Moved and supported. Lisa, whenever you're ready, call the vote.
Jerry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
James,
Yes, the motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 6, appoint full-time police officer.
Yeah, sorry, chief
okay.
is not feeling well, along with a couple other officers. Unfortunately, I think it's going around and hitting us all. We are recommending the hiring of Matthew Hunkel, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. He is currently employed up in Manistee as an officer, and he actually is from the area. He used to be employed by the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department. So Officer or Lieutenant Wagner has actually worked with him in that capacity previously. We did interview him, and Chief went through like the prerequisites, the background information, things like that. So we are recommending hiring. This would fill the full-time position that we have vacant currently that Officer Corey left when he went to Chelsea. But if you have questions, let me know and I will try to answer them.
Oh, that's our last remaining vacancy, is that correct?
Yes.
Glad we were able to find somebody.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to move to authorize an offer of employment to Mr. Matthew Hunkel for the position of police officer with the Blissfield Police Department contingent upon successful completion of a pre-employment physical and psychological examination at the starting wage of $25.97 per hour and benefits in accordance with the 22-23 village pay scale. Additionally, that upon successful completion of the probationary period, that Mr. Hunkel's pay be increased to $27.96 per hour.
I'll support that.
Thank you. Moved and supported. Lisa, whenever you're ready, please call.
Bill,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
James,
Yes. The motion passes. Agenda item number 7, fee waiver request.
So the resident at 305 Pearl Street is requesting a fee waiver of only the penalty amount of $13.75. They made a payment to their utility account on December 20th. And provided documentation, which is attached for you guys, showing that that payment was processed, and I was going to look at it and I completely spaced it, so I apologize. But when I prepared the agenda, we still had not received that payment. But they did make it. I did look at the account. They've not had a late payment since September of 2010. So they are typically always on time. And again, they're just requesting that penalty amount.
Make a motion to approve the fee waiver request for resident 305 Pearl Street an amount of $13.75. Second.
moved in support of Lisa. Did you get that full motion?
Got it.
Great, go ahead and call it.
Well, Denise, why does this keep happening? It seems like more and more that we're arguing over late bills, late fees, things that are, is it because we are moving more to the internet-based payment system or you know, the online payment? Is it because something's being missed in the office, something's not being entered? Again, as long as I've sat on council, I've never had as many different changes or different corrections in regards to water billing as we've had this year.
Yeah, so I think it's a couple different things. And literally, this is speculation or just kind of my thoughts, but we are actually enforcing or charging like the penalties and I don't, my understanding is in the past, we didn't always do that. I also think in the past, my understanding is that staff was making decisions whether or not to waive or not to, and the ordinance clearly states that we don't have that authority. So now those things are coming before you guys. I also think that because there have been waivers and requests, because the bills are higher, and in general, everything I think is higher. So people are paying a little bit more attention to this. Under the council discussion, I actually would like to ask council something kind of related to this. To me, like, I feel that I would waive this. They've not been late since 2010. It's, in the whole scheme of things, $13.75. But I don't have that authority under the ordinance and I don't want to violate that. So I do want to talk to you guys if we want to consider like some kind of leniency. You know, because in this case, I would, if they reached out to me and the ordinance said, you know, that myself or Brandon or whoever had the authority to waive under certain circumstances up to a certain amount, like this one makes sense to me. Maybe, you know, if it was somebody requesting a waiver in every single month they're late, I would probably at that time say no, because you consistently are late, you know, but this is kind of that like outlier situation. So the ordinance might help alleviate some of that if you guys were willing or open to giving staff or myself some leniency there, but it would need to be an ordinance amendment. And then ultimately, I mean, that I think would be minimal. That's not saying that staff can say, okay, we're gonna waive this whole bill or anything like that. But
How is payment received? Does Bank of America cut a check?
they cut a check and mail it for
Okay.
their bill pay.
So I hate to say it, but this is right around the holidays. Mail is extremely busy, so there's a good chance that this check was cut and has yet to make it here.
So this is something that they did online
Yeah.
and not an automatic deduct like some of
So
us
they
sign
did-
up for.
yes,
This is
they
just
did.
online payment with the fee.
Correct, and I did talk to this individual about signing up for auto pay, which will help people, if they do that, then it'll come out automatically. So he went through his bank and submitted the bill pay, and then they issue the check that goes out in the mail, which is similar, like TLC does the same thing. If you bill pay through them,
Some are paid through ACH, electronic funds transfer, some are paid via physical check.
yeah, Huntington
Yeah.
is another one that's a physical check. There's quite a few that we get very regularly.
And this is how they've been paying their bill for the.
You know, I didn't look to
Ask.
see or ask him, but I would assume that's how they've
But
been.
I doubt the village accepts any EFT payments from bank transfers.
No, we do not. They would have to do the auto pay, but he could come in and do cash or a
Sure.
check himself.
Sure.
So I'm not sure how they've been paying it the whole time, but
No, just in general,
yes.
if you go through bill pay through your food bank.
Yeah, as long as it's not a flaw in like our auto deduct system or the transfer system.
seem to
That
be
was
that.
kind of
No,
like-
yeah, no, it's not that.
This is outside of our.
Yeah, if it were an employee error, like they signed up for auto pay and we didn't put it, I would waive that, because to me, we made the mistake, we correct it, but yeah, this is outside of that.
And I think it makes logical sense for you guys in our office to be able to adjust something like that. Again, I can't imagine every municipality having to deal with, you know, hundreds or thousands of tiny little adjustments.
Yeah.
That's something that we call.
And again, to me, this seems silly to bring to you guys, but I also, you wrote the ordinance and I don't wanna violate that. And no good deed goes unpunished, so I'm like, the second I do that.
All right, Mike, I appreciate the questioning and the thought process. Anything else further?
No, thank you.
Any further discussion? So we do have a motion and support for that motion. Lisa, you want to call the roll?
Gwen? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
James?
Yes, that motion passes. Item agenda number 8, resolution of the approval of a special liquor license application.
I would move to approve the resolution recommending issuance of the special liquor license application for the wine stroll to be held on April the 6th of 2023.
Support.
Moved and supported. This is a new event, is it not?
Yes, this is one of the first Thursday events for the DDA.
All right. So first Thursdays are also new events.
Correct. We had our first Thursday last week, the health fair. You know, that's a mouthful. We have, and there's some postcards out. I'm forgetting February already. That's how. March is Irish. Oh, chocolate and wine in February.
Whiskey and
Wine.
chocolate.
Whiskey and chocolate.
And then everyone is Irish, and then the wine stroll in April.
So keep an eye out for those first Thursdays. With that, we do have a motion in support for that. Lisa, will you call the vote?
Jerry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Tim?
No.
Mike?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
James?
Yes, that motion passes. Last item agenda, approve the surplus of the 1999 Ford F-250 with plow.
We just got our new DPW truck with plow. This was the one that we had partial funding from the grant, the USDA grant. And this is the vehicle that it replaced. So we're just requesting council approve for us to surplus this so that we can put it out to bid and try to at least get a little bit of money off of it. I did try to Kelly Blue Book the truck just to give you guys an estimate of what it's worth. It won't even give me a cost because of the condition of the truck. So I truly have no idea what we'll get for this, but
Being a classic.
it's better than it sitting there. The plow is in fairly good shape still, but it does not, it's an E-pin and we have 3 pins. I think that's right. So we're just requesting, I'm gonna bid them out together and see what we can get.
Yeah, Danielle and I talked about this the other day when I was in. And she said, should we do the plow separate from the truck? I'm like, put them all together, just let somebody else scoop it up.
That's a business opportunity right there.
So
I'm looking for a motion for an entrepreneur.
I'll make a motion to authorize the advertising for sale by closed auction bid, the 1999 Ford F-250 with a VIN number of 1 F Frank T Tom F Frank and Nora F Frank 21 F Frank 1 YLOE Edward D David 42011. You can tell I do that for a living. With Boss Plow as is, with a closing time and date for receipt of bids to be set by the village administrator.
Support.
Or
You gotta repeat that.
Said bid.
Moved and supported, Lisa?
Bill?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gwen?
yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
James?
Yes, the motion passes. Any questions on the reports? Council, I'll open it up to you.
Oh, yes. Was it on the report here, Danielle, I believe, and it kind of contradicts, or maybe I misunderstood, the dates for the committee of the whole. I was under the impression, with the village administrator report. In our January committee of the whole, we're gonna go ahead and do the legal service evaluation. And were we gonna discuss Generac at that time, or are we having a whole separate committee of the whole for Generac?
No, I have it on the same January meeting next,
That's what we talked about last.
because we had
Right.
talked about legal being here already for the evaluation and then
Right.
Bill being able to give you an update at that time. And then if a motion is required following that update, it'll be on the meeting for the 23rd.
I see exactly what I did.
Oh, the spacing. a little
The
odd,
spacing, the
isn't it?
spacing threw me off,
Oh.
that's why. Okay, that's why. My apologies, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. I see exactly, Mike, you see what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Since Laura isn't here, were you down the first Thursday?
I did not make it down there.
I was just wondering how it went.
I did talk to her.
I was there.
Yeah, you want,
Well, if nobody hears what, I brought a program, if anybody wants to look up, what was on. Barb, I think they had said that they had an early crowd. I don't know if they want to discuss the timing of stuff, but later on, they didn't have as much people stay for the whole thing. Maybe it was too long, too much, I don't know, but it was very nice. I think people were, receptive, so.
Good.
It was
Thank you.
a great start.
and just to follow up to that a little bit, so we had about 40 participants. It was DDA or Laura, I think, they were hoping for a better turnout. We did talk about it a little bit. It was her first one, and this is pretty new. It was following the holidays as well. I thought that was a good turnout. I think they had some great programs. The committee for this, I think it was really excited, had some really cool ideas. So hopefully these, with First Thursdays being so new, they'll kind of get some momentum and have a little bit more going on. But I think that's a good turnout. We have had really positive feedback from those who have attended.
Thank you.
And the weather was crappy.
Well, it's not so much about your report,
Radiant.
Danielle, but
Yeah.
about the status. How do things go regarding the first day of the new schedule / prior to the new schedule coming into play? Comments, concerns regarding from the residents?
Can we wait till council discussion?
We can.
Great. Is there any more questions regarding the reports?
I
Moving
think
on
it was
to-
part of a report, but okay.
Well, no, I think that's. Just want to finish up, wrap up. So, okay, council discussion, go ahead, Glenn.
That was it.
Right? That's what I wanted.
So today was the first day of the 410s. So I mean, as far as staff, I don't know that we have
Right.
really too much feedback at this point. It was definitely slow this morning, and again, I think because it's new. So far, we've had very positive feedback from our residents, though, who are excited that we're gonna be open later for them, so that they can come in after work and make payments. We have been tracking that. So far, we have not received any complaints about it, but I think that, again, it's still new and we'll work through everything, and we are keeping track of that, so we'll be able to report as we get a little bit
That was one of
further.
the things I was hoping that you would jump into. And what are your plans to track? Because that was something we had discussed, certainly, council had, the how are we going to determine whether or not it is something that is a success or not? What have you guys?
So all of us as staff, not just myself, will
Right.
be tracking the positive and negative feedback from the citizens. And keeping track of we did, for just the basic "I love it" comments, a simple tally sheet of they like it or they don't. If it's a more in-depth comment, then we'll have some more in-depth information. So that's one part. We'll be looking at the hours that the employees work prior and then during. We'll be looking at our utility bills and seeing if there's any change there. And then I'll also be providing information to you guys as to how many people we are helping in the morning and then also in the evening. And I'll break that up so that you're seeing them as separate amounts. I'm not planning on breaking that up like per day for you, but giving you kind of a general overview at, at 8, this is how many people, or 8 to 9, and then 5 to 6.
So that's great. So you have 4 different tracking options is what I'm hearing you say.
Yes,
Beautiful, okay.
yeah, and if something else comes to mind, I will add that as well, but right now, that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
Do you wanna talk a little bit about the fellowship?
Yeah, I would love to tell you guys, I am so excited. Blissfield was selected as a host community through Community Economic Development Association of Michigan, also known as CEDM. This is a intern program for 15 months. It's a full-time employee to help us with specific projects. The projects that we submitted were to help us finish and become RRC certified, to help with ordinance revisions, to help with website and social media updates and some better information and make it a little bit more accessible and user-friendly. And then on top of that, they'll be doing some like smaller jobs kind of related to all that. They'll be helping with some events and some outreach with the businesses. We are working on getting a business inventory of our properties, the owner's contact information, and having kind of a general database with that information, and then we'll just maintain it from there. So they'll help with that, but I'm very excited. 10 communities were selected. The program, it's about $100,000 in cost. We are still waiting. The village's match is $10,000. I did apply for a scholarship for that, which we're still waiting on, but even worst case scenario, we don't get that and we have to pay the $10,000 match. It's a huge return on investment for us and just a great opportunity to be a part of that. So I'm really, really excited. I think all of the staff are.
This will be like a college student?
Yes, so it'll be an individual who may or may not still be in college that is focused or has some sort of degree in the community development related field.
Well,
I
congratulations.
think that's
for you.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, nice job.
That's a 15-month tenure program.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so excited for us.
Were you the point on that?
I did complete the application on that. I did work with Laura to identify what we wanted our top projects to be. So it was a team effort, but
Great.
super excited.
Feather in your cap, Mrs. Gross.
Yes. All of our cap.
Any further council discussion?
Yeah, I know, I don't want to drag it out, I'm gonna get out of here, but real quick, the library agreements, just the dialogue there was a little bit confusing, just the emails going back and forth with Greg. Are we getting closer to where we want to be, or is there still some major challenges there?
We're closer, yes. I'll be honest, I'm also a little bit confused. So I know one of their concerns is the insurance. I was under the impression, and maybe I'm wrong, that if there was some follow-up to the changes we had, there'd be another subcommittee meeting. I'm not sure if it doesn't feel like that was what they were thinking. And I could be wrong, I don't want to speak on their behalf. So I was actually going to follow up with you and James and see, because you are the subcommittee, see how you guys wanted to handle this, and we
Did
would
you
go
guys
from
meet or
there.
anything like? So there's been a meeting, you guys.
Oh, we did.
James did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I did. And I thought we had hashed out the language in both the lease for the building and the employee, but it seems like there's further questions, so.
Well, let's try to meet with them again and we'll
Yep.
figure it out and move forward.
I think that's
And I
probably
get,
best.
obviously, it's a funding concern, so.
Yeah,
Secondly, you had included that email about the capital improvement plan request. Is that something that you want from us as well?
yeah,
Or next?
yes, so anybody can submit a request. So there is, I guess, there's the form. You don't need to fill that out completely. What I need and you don't even have to fill that out. If you're like, Danielle, I'll fill it out. But if you guys have specific projects If you could just let me know what those are, and then I will work on the cost estimates and what it'll take to get that done. And if you could also generally tell me, like, is this a high priority, like you want it done next year? Or you're just saying in the next 5 years, where can you fit this in? That would be helpful to me as well. But yes, that's open to all of you. I've also submitted it to all the boards for comment and feedback, or if they have projects. And honestly, if there's a citizen that had a project that they would like to see, and that'll go to planning commission and then ultimately you guys, so you'll have the ability to change or move that around. But we will really start working on that in March. So I got that to you ahead of time, but that'll give me some time to start working on the cost estimates to get that all in order and ready to go to the board.
Appreciate that. Grant updates real quick. I think I heard the rotary was turned down. Is that correct for the trail? And then there was the mini park one as well. I think we heard on that one.
No, the mini park one has not been released yet through the Spark grant. You are correct. We did not for the second time get the Rotary Trail grant through the DNR. I have let Rotary know. I've let Parks and Rec Board know. And we'll be discussing that at their meeting, and then the Parks and Rec Board meeting, and then I'll follow up with Rotary to work with them as well. But at this time, we did increase our points this round from the first one, but we've hit kind of a wall. Like there's nothing else point wise that we can do based on the site and what we're proposing to do. So I don't know that reapplying or continue to reapply knowing we're not gonna not get any more points, or we're just not meeting certain criteria, doesn't make sense. So I know the Rotary, I briefly talked to them about that, and they were definitely receptive and open to using their funds that they've had sitting there waiting for this project on something else and partnering with the village. I don't again know exactly what that'll look like, but just, and again, not formal, but they talked about both the old pool site and the new pool site. They did like the idea of the new pool site because we did receive that donation and are working on some things there. In addition, Pat Farber had donated $15,000 for a trail in that area, so they thought about trying to maybe add to that. But I will keep you guys posted as we move along with that.
I know we have our Parks and Rec next Tuesday.
Yes.
My assumption is that'll be part of our discussion.
Yes, it will be.
I just thought back in the day, they had originally had enough funding to do like phase one or whatever, connect the bridges and Pearl Street and Mineral Street. Is that something that they could still do? Again, they requested donation for that. Is that their interest? I mean, that literally was kind of earmarked in that plan to do that. So why would we not stick with that program? I think even if we get phase one done, that would be a
I didn't think they had enough, Mike. I thought they were still short of it for the short.
That was my question.
So as a Rotary member now, I don't know in the past, I want to say that they have, I think it's like 75 total. So this phase, the reduced phase was 91,000. The full project was, I believe, 252,000. Now if they, prior to me being here, I'm not sure, Mike, at all. They may have maybe had some and allocated it elsewhere. I'd have to ask the Rotary Club.
I think your numbers are pretty much up. That's what I remembered as well. I did have one more question then as well for Danielle, if I may. Just regarding the signage down there at the park, I know that I believe you guys had some workers down there from a company that seemed to be when I drove by the one day regarding the electronic board down at the park, Danielle. I know it seems to be on a glitch. Didn't know what the status might be of it.
Yes, we had is it?
It's Fritz
Thank you.
Signs. Oh, you want me to talk about it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
So yeah, I contacted them. They were out here twice. They were ordering parts, and I actually sent them an email again today, just asking when they thought those would be in, but they think something is wrong with, and the parts come from a different country from my understanding, so they have to order them. And so I'm not sure when they'll be there, but yes, we are following up on it, continuing to work on it, so. Just come this way instead of that.
Yeah, I understand totally.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm okay.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? If there's no further council discussion, I'll open it up for public comments, items not on the agenda. Go ahead.
My name is Jackie Bates. I live at 114 Sherman Street. Unfortunately, we don't have any officers in attendance this evening, but today is January 9th, and it's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. And I just wanted to make note of that and thank the chief and the entire department, old and new, for their dedication and service to our community.
Thank you, Jackie.
And that they get well quick.
Yes. Yes, we need to go back on the road. Any other public comment? All right, hearing none. We have the committee of the whole agenda preview. I think those are quite task-worthy that we can accomplish during each meeting. Does anybody have anything to add to that? Down until April.
Not me.
Now, May.
Yes. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn then.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Or supported, Lisa, if you will.
Mike,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
James.
Yes. That motion passes. Next meeting is in 2 weeks. We'll be back here 1 week for meeting of the whole. Meeting adjourned.